channel. This is Aranda here, My Best Life Paraguay. And today we're going to be going over a video by Jack Morgan, RLP, Red Leather Podcast 2.0. And he's covering Americans are leaving in record numbers, right? This is a trend we've been seeing now that I've covered in different fashions last few videos, right? And bringing other guys on my channel as well. And going to be bringing more people on my channel so they can give their personal testimony and also tell us about the trends with people in their lives who were there from in the U.S. or other countries around the world, but in particular the U.S. Right? So so real short introduction for those who are new to the channel. I'm Ryan Aranda. Was born here in Paraguay. Met my family, biological family. So I was adopted when I was young. So I grew up in the States, and I met my biological family here 13 years ago. Been coming ever since, and now I've been living here since July of 2024. Okay, so about 15 months now I've been here in Paraguay. Okay, so we're gonna get into this video, and we're gonna see what they have to say. All right.
All right, we sound good. This one's titled, Americans Are Leaving in Record Numbers. I wonder why.
Americans are leaving this country in record numbers. And I'm not talking about vacation. I'm talking packing their bags, booking their flights, and leaving for good. In the first few months of 2025 alone, the amount of people that just said, I'm done, and moved abroad doubled from the year before. That's not just a blip, okay?
You double check that? Did double the amount of Americans leave this year than last year? Or look that up, Nestor.
That's a wave. So why? Same reasons you and I complain about every day. Cost of living going through the roof, political chaos that never seems to end, and the fear of safety even when you're just going to the grocery store. But here's the thing, it's not just...
What's with this safety, fear of safety narrative? I highly doubt most of you are scared when you leave your house. Like, come on, Nestor, you like going to the grocery store trembling in fear?
No.
And we live like in South Florida, like where we live is not like, it's not classic white America suburbia. That's a bit much, that push of fear of it's so dangerous. I'm calling horseshit on that. But what I will say is, this is something before we continue with him. So I did this.
So I feel him on that fear part, sort of. The thing is a lot of Americans are desensitized to the violence that goes on around us, right? So something happens here in Paraguay, whether it's something violent that were to happen in the city you're from, the neighborhood you're from, and people will latch on for that for the longest time, right? But something could happen to you 3 blocks away in America, a shooting, whatever, doesn't matter, and we're so desensitized that we don't even think about stuff anymore. Or there could be a dozen mass shootings in one day, and it's just normal America, right? So I think Americans have pushed it out of their minds. But America is more violent. So if you put 2 countries side to side, Paraguay, for example, where there's no mass shootings, versus there's several dozens per day in America. Well, if you're gonna vote on that one statistic alone, I'll choose the one with 0. Just purely by numbers. But yeah, I don't think that most Americans are like fearing to take one step outside of their house. But that doesn't deny the fact that numbers are real in America when it comes to mass shootings, all kinds of gun violence that just does not exist in many other parts of the developed and developing world. Okay, so let's keep going.
Video the other day, right? And this is in the middle of nowhere, Florida. This is why people are looking to move to other countries, and I don't blame them. This is in Hermosa, South Florida. No one wants to fucking live there. And this place was $80,000. All right? That's the best deal we can get. Place to save their life. And this is where I'm getting at right here. You ready for it? This place looks like it should be condemned. See what I'm saying? But here's the funniest part. You get people like this. Let's go to my comment section here. right here. The audacity of this fucking guy. But like, this is the kind of shit you get. 79K and put 30K in. You're at 109K. It has property. It's a known brainer. But this is why, first of all, I'm calling bullshit. You're not moving to the middle of nowhere, Florida, to buy this piece of shit property, to fix it up and have home equity value. That's kind of where I'm getting at. And this is one of the cheapest places we could get, guys. Don't make me go to this other place in the literal middle of Florida for $225,000. No beach in sight. Okay, so I just want to go ahead and call horseshit when you hear people talk like this. Just buy a dilapidated house. Put the money in, dude. What, are you gonna get a loan for all this shit? Really? To live there, middle of nowhere? No, you're fucking not. So, moral of the story is this is why so many people are leaving, and I don't blame them. What do we got on those numbers, Nestor?
Yeah, there was a 48% increase
Shit.
over Americans renouncing their U.S. citizenship.
Nice. I talk about this. I've been looking at Mexico. I've been looking at a lot of places.
Yeah.
Let's hear this guy out. And I don't blame people. I've been looking at other places in America. Michigan's one of them. Tennessee, kinda. You know, we joke about Alabama and shit. And I don't mean to talk shit about Alabama. It's just,
You're not going to do well going to the Midwest. I mean, people who haven't lived in 4 to 5 months of snow and pretty harsh climate, going from Florida to Michigan, I don't think Jack Morgan's going to like that, to be completely honest. I think he'll do fine in Spain, Portugal, in Latin America, But man, that's a big shift. Like it usually works the other way around. People from the Midwest want to get out of the cold and experience warm climate for once in their life. Now that used to be the South or Florida or the Southwest or even the West Coast for that matter, right? But it doesn't really work too well the other way, because I don't think that people really understand what they're giving up from living in a warm climate, right? So, and now all those places that I just listed off, the Southwest, Florida, anywhere in the South really, is unaffordable. So it doesn't make sense anymore. Maybe a decade, 2 decades ago it did. But now you might as well go to Mexico. You might as well go to Latin America or anywhere else where your dollar goes anywhere farther than where it does in the U.S. Especially Jack Morgan, making all his income online. You know what I mean? So yeah. But the other point that he was saying, the numbers about what's it called? Renouncing your U.S. citizenship. That's not the real numbers, you guys. That's still a very small fraction of people who are moving abroad. Not everybody just renounces their U.S. citizenship. People can live abroad for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, their whole lives, and not renounce their U.S. citizenship. So that's still a very small number. But even that trend, though, even that trend of 48% increase from last year to this year, that's still a very high increase. And most of those people are very high earners, exactly who the U.S. does not want to leave, right? So then you get a bunch of people from the middle class or upper middle class wanting to leave as well, who are not listed in that statistic. And I guarantee you that it's much higher. It's much higher than that. And honestly, you're not going to figure out true numbers until later, because, most people won't even claim on their, well, it depends what kind of work you're doing, right? But, most people may hold on to state residence or still have residency in the state you're from, etc. So it's really hard to grasp the true numbers of people who are moving abroad. But the trend is the trend, and it's much more. And even the last number I saw is 9 million. And just to put that in comparison, Paraguay is a country of 7 million people. So imagine 9 million people have left, even say in the last 4 years. That's still astounding, right? Per capita, that may not be impressive in the U.S., It might be 1%, but that's still just, just numbers wise by itself, people wise, population wise by itself is a very, very high amount of people. Okay. So let's keep going.
I don't know about living in the middle of nowhere. And even those places, the prices are a bit much.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people are just going, stuff it. I'll go to another country. You may as well go all the way with it, is kind of the moral of the story here.
Political chaos that never seems to end, and the fear of safety, even when you're just going to the grocery store.
Call 'em
Here's the
bullshit on
thing,
that
it's
one.
not just dreamers or millionaires doing it. It's normal people. It's people with families. It's young people, old people, retirees, people who are working remote.
The only thing I'll say to Jack calling BS on that is what if you are from one of these areas that did have a mass shooting, whether you're a kid in a school or whether you were in a grocery store or a mall, that one of these mass shootings did happen. I think that PTSD will stay with you for years, if not in your entire life. So it's kind of one of those things that, maybe it hasn't happened in Southern Florida, close enough to Jack for it to really have an impact on your life. But I'm sure there's lots and lots and lots of Americans who have that day-to-day PTSD because they've either been in the vicinity of a mass shooting or somebody that they know has been deeply affected or killed in a mass shooting, right? And it's almost starting to become, such a horrific trend in the States that, there have been documented cases where people who have been part of one mass shooting have found themselves in 2 and even 3, and it's absolutely incredible. Right, there was the case where kids from Columbine, one of the first in the U.S. Has experienced multiple. Imagine I certainly imagine that person has PTSD. Now, is it still probably a small fraction of the U.S.? Sure, but again, it's not a good trend. So, yeah, let's keep going.
Common thread holding all of these people together is they just want a dignified life. That's why you're seeing places like Greece, Spain, France, Portugal. Their cafes are filling up with Americans who are just done. People love to scream, if you don't like it, leave. Well, we are thousands and thousands of us. We will be joining that wave soon. If you're curious about moving abroad, stick around, because we're about to embark on this journey ourselves, and we can't wait. At the end of the day, people like us just want to make life work. And if we think that we can do that better outside of this country, then who's to say we can't?
I agree with them. Everybody's moving to. I will say you could make a lot of money here, but who's really doing that? I am, but I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to be rich forever. I don't want to have to always make.
Well, yeah, you can make a lot of money. I was making good money before I left, but can you keep that money? That's the real question. How much of it can you keep? And beyond that, how much are you going to sacrifice for yourself to be able to keep that? Are you going to stay single forever as a guy? Because you can hold on to more money if you are. Or are you going to stop dating as a guy? Yeah, you could save more money if you're not dating versus trying to date, etc. So it's what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice it your whole life just to have a few extra dollars in your pocket in America, just to hold on to that little bit that you are able to save? Yeah, more money doesn't exactly mean better quality of life anymore, because you find yourself spending most of it either on bills or extracurricular stuff. So let's keep going.
Make this kind of money just to what? Just to keep working. That's kind of what I think it's going at. Not many people are just gonna be able to get rich here. Get everybody from everywhere else in the world coming here, and it's like a melting pot now. Fuck it. Let's just make the whole world a melting pot. And I kind of agree with that. The only downside is you're gonna have to make American money. That's the only problem. You don't move to Mexico to make pesos, guys. I'm gonna keep saying that. This one goes, we should really all leave. This country is crashing and burning. It's funny because if all the Americans leave, right? And when I say Americans, I don't want to say if all the white people leave. I mean, just like your classic, And a lot of people from Mexico are born here. Asians are born here. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if all of us leave and it's just the foreign people, that would be kind of funny. It would literally collapse, but I think that would be kind of impossible. All right, let me see. After 23 years in the US, I'm moving back to Europe for good in 3 months. That's funny though, because they came here to make money. A lot of people just come here to get the money and go back home.
Oh,
It's like the long-term game plan. A lot of Haitians do that in Florida. Oh, dude, they come here, they get the money, they're sending all types of money back to their country, and then they're like rich over there. One thing you should also point out is the majority of these people are either experts in a field, teachers with master's degrees. This will eventually have a negative impact on society in the United States. Well, another thing too is like this one Italian guy I was watching, he was saying if you wanted to just go live in Italy, let's say, and you think you're just going to go to Italy and all of a sudden, like without American money and just start working, he's like, dude, you're going to have an even worse quality of life. Not like really worse quality of life, but that's why so many people keep coming to America is my point.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna make sacrifices. Like you may not have a car in your new country, but everything could be walking distance, right? So, or may not be as modern as of a place. I always like to live in the most modern that I can, right? Just because I like that aspect. But I also find good deals. Like my last duplex, this place where I'm in now, both have been under $400 a month here in Paraguay. Both are 2-bedroom places, and so yeah, and but also that kind of it really depends who what you were doing in America. Were you eating it out every single day in America? Or were you cooking most meals in America? It's gonna drastically depend on your lifestyle in America versus comparing that to what you're able to do abroad, right? Yeah, there will be some sacrifices, but overall it's better. And overall it's better to be in better societies for sure. Yeah, and all this stuff about like, oh, I'm moving because of politics and stuff like that. It's kind of ridiculous to me. People should be moving for economic reasons, number one, and don't make emotional decisions about what goes on politically. That's kind of ridiculous. Plan your life not revolved around politics, but revolved more around economic factors and the things that affect you day to day, right? So, anyways, not to say that politics doesn't, but I'm just saying that don't revolve your life around making decisions around what politicians may or may not do. Okay, all right, let's keep going.
So that's one thing. It's kind of hard to just go there because what job are you going to do? Do you even speak the language? Right? And then you have to learn how to not have all of America's luxuries. Forget about your Mercedes Benz. You know what I mean? Moving to Thailand next year. My brother just moved to Mexico with his wife. Best days of America are behind us. Yeah, I think we could all agree on that. And I feel a little guilty talking like this, like just giving up on our country. But like, would you go fight for this country if you didn't get paid for it? Right? Like how many people are in the military? Remember they had to force people in the military, like get drafted. People are like leaving to Canada and shit to dodge the draft. But I don't think most of us would just go fight for this country because we love it, like without the money involved. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Yeah, he's right about that point because, well, there's if you in your mind are signing up for the military, you're gonna want a decent projection for your future when you come back. If you come back, well, most likely you will, unless we're in a hot war or something. But even then, you're gonna want to go to college. You're gonna want to come back to a healthy economy. You're not gonna want to come back to a crashing, burning economy where everything's impossible, which then will not motivate you to sign up even in the first place, right? So because of the GI Bill, people, who use the military to come back to study, to get ahead in life without having student loans, etc., like a lot of the rest of us. So I totally understand that. But when there's no sense of healthy patriotism, and you're not in a decent economy, yeah, you're gonna have less and less people sign up for the military, for sure. So yeah.
Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's getting to the point where, like, you got to pay these people criminal amount. Like, is everybody going to work for the government or be military? Um, I don't think so. I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but I think it is something to be said about that. I don't want to say America's a piece of shit. I love it here. I don't want to have to move, but unfortunately, it's sounding nice. You know, I'm looking at places, dude. $1,500 a month, fucking right near the beach in Mexico. 3 bedrooms. You're not getting that here. You're not getting that here. And if you wanted to move inland, $800 a month, chilling, triple chilling. Okay, the USA is now one of the worst countries in the world. Look up what we rank. Like what does America rank against other countries in like quality of life or something of that nature? Racism, racial profiling is now legal. The middle class can't retire on Social Security. No health care. Tax cuts for the rich. Increase of taxes in the form of tariffs. Martial law in some cities. Yeah, they got a lot of points, especially the Social Security one. The free healthcare thing wouldn't really work, only because everybody's so sick.
True.
So if you go to another country, you're going to get help.
Okay, first of all, it's not free. It's exactly what we'd be paying for, with our taxes. So that whole like free healthcare, it's not free. It's just our taxes are actually going to something worthwhile. Then yeah, the other point in that comment, you know, a lot of people on the right will not agree with this, but I actually do think it's true. Racial profiling, especially due to ICE, picking up American citizens who are brown that they think are not citizens, it's gone down hundreds, if not probably thousands of times right now. It's not cool, and nobody should be in favor of that. Hopefully, and yeah, but yeah, the biggest point here is the middle class can't retire on Social Security. That's absolutely true. That's been true for a while now, and it's only getting worse and worse and worse. Right? Some people may depend on some Social Security and maybe some help from their kids, or they may have something else like a pension, etc. But even Social Security, I mean, that's poverty. You're living in poverty if you can live at all, just off of Social Security. For people now who are collecting Social Security, right? So, but in another country, you'll do just fine with that Social Security check coming in monthly, right? So, yeah, you know, and again, most of this goes back to economics. There's other stuff too, but nothing is as powerful as economics, right? So yeah, and I'm not gonna play all this video, right? We're gonna skip around a little bit, but I'm gonna read some comments at the bottom here. Yeah, okay.
Hypocritical. Some people are doing good though. Some people are making a shit ton of money. Some people are able to afford that. Like, yeah, some people are. And somehow a lot of these people from other countries are coming here and making it work.
Yeah, but the thing is that whole argument about, yeah, but you know, I can be rich in America. It's like, okay, but then you're gonna have to live in the gated community, and everybody else, the masses are poor. Plus, there's no upward mobility in America like there used to be, right? So I'd rather be in a country where the middle class is growing, or there's more potential for there to be a middle class, right? I don't want to be in a country where the middle class is dying and there's more and more misery because of it. You know, especially we're one of the most armed nations in the world, so you know, more and more theft, robbery, degeneracy, hopelessness, mental health issues. You know, like we were saying again, you know, we don't have a national healthcare system, so people will go years without going to the doctor, and especially without mental health. I mean, you know, so yeah, I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster. Okay, let's keep going a little bit more. watch a little bit, then I'll get some comments, and then I'll close out here.
And we were born here. We had a head start. That's the funniest part. My husband is so overwhelmed with his credit card bills that he told me that it's main reason why he is so depressed.
Okay, we're going to skip that part.
Is a smart idea. This is just a guy or a girl. I don't know what it is. Yo, this person right here. That's why you got to live in Michigan. Who the hell wants to live in Florida anyways? Gross. Well, believe it or not, it's actually really nice here. It really is. It's great. It's not like how they make it seem to be. And I've been to Michigan. Michigan's
Dude, I'd love to live in Florida as a very upper middle class or rich person. Florida, you know, besides like the degeneracy of like trying to find like a wife in Florida, but like Florida itself by itself, the infrastructure, that'd be cool. Good weather year round. Yeah, I'd you know, like Florida's kind of cool for that, you know. Yeah, maybe wouldn't want to find your wife in Miami or nothing like that, but rather go to Latin America, you know, for that. But yeah, you know, I don't know what kind of argument they're trying to make, unless it's purely economic. Like, yeah, obviously the Midwest is going to be cheaper than Florida. But then again, I'm from the Midwest and it's not that cheap. It's still incredibly overpriced too. So
a beautiful place. Great Lakes, I get it. Families in Michigan. A lot of nice places in the U.S. that are quote unquote affordable, I guess. But the more I look into it, it's really not. It's really fucking not. Quite.
Well, and that's okay. So that's the other thing too about that was so nice about for past generations, right? They'd had options of whether, you know what, I'm really not into the big New York City Big Apple life anymore. I want to go live in Michigan by the Great Lakes or Wisconsin or in the UP or something by the Great Lakes. You know why? Because I want that kind of life. You know, maybe I'll live in a financial sector in Milwaukee or financial sector in Chicago or one of these other Midwest cities, right? You used to have that option, right? But now everything is overpriced, right? So like you used to have like options of, okay, or maybe I like the mountains. Let's go out and live in Denver, Colorado. You know what I mean? And see if we can pick up life there, you know? But now it's like hardly anything makes sense. You might as well just stay where you're at and then just try to get out abroad, right? Because, you know, living within the U.S. as a normal person, you're outpriced everywhere you go. So, you know, it's kind of ridiculous, right? But we don't have those same options. Like even if I wanted to go out to, and it actually was kind of a dream of mine to go out to Denver for my very early 20s, right? But you know, it wasn't that. You know, it was actually possible to do that. Now, did I do that? No, but you know, it was actually possible too. Back in 2013 ish, you know. But now, you know, there's no point to any of it, right? So yeah, let's keep going.
Frankly, I'm tired of it. I couldn't believe $63 for a parking ticket. I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's the most expensive coffee I've ever had. Anyways, hell of a talk. You guys leave what country you're looking at. We're looking at Mexico. We're looking at Mexico. We're looking at Spain. Heard Peru's nice this time of year. Yeah, I don't know. I'm over it. You got anything else? You got any crazy ideas?
Yeah. Wherever you move, I'll hopefully move with you.
There you go. Me and Nestor are going to go conquer Peru together. Unreal. Good talk.
Yeah. I was looking up a bunch of Leave America stuff. Anyways, so yeah, no, I like that his eye is on Latin America or maybe Spain or Portugal or something like that. Yeah, you know, so I'm glad that he's thinking about it and that other people are thinking about it for sure. I think it'd be great for people. And so, yeah, let's get into some comments here. Pretty well viewed video, about 40,000 views on this on Jack Morgan's channel. Okay. Okay, so there's kind of a negative comment. Move out of this country and into a new one. Then see the prices of that place you moved to start to rise. Then see the locals that start theirs. Then see the locals there start to hate you because of it. Happening in Mexico right now. Yeah, that's why you don't go to places that are just absolutely flooded with tourists and Americans constantly, like Mexico City, right? Sure, go there, but be well aware of everything that it entails. Anti-gringo sentiment, yes, very prevalent, in your face gentrification, which means you're going to be paying higher prices than you would in even just a smaller town in Mexico, for that matter, or city, right? So, yeah, I completely agree with that. Okay, another negative comment. No matter where you are, where you go, there you are. Well, I guess it's not completely negative. It's just a realistic comment. That's true, but what that statement doesn't entail is, yeah, but if you're able to make uh, money in your Western currency, it still has much higher value where you're going, where you're going to end up, hopefully, right? Okay. After living overseas since 2018, I've learned that even though America has problems, I'll still never give up my passport, citizenship, or American income. Yes, that's the most base comment I've seen so far, and I completely agree. Let's give that a like. uh, yeah. Okay, I lived in the Philippines and Thailand from 2016 to 2021, and I am going back as soon as I can. Cost of living and the rat race lifestyle here in the U.S. sucks. Yeah, we us guys who move abroad, we talk about that quite a bit. The whole rat race culture, making money to just make money to spend money, but you don't get much fulfillment out of that, right? Um, just keeping up with the Joneses, the rat race, the title, the promotion, the new salary, all for nothing. It seems like, and especially okay, I'm not gonna go down that, but I was gonna say, well, keeping it short, but especially guys who get married and the whole divorce thing, and then those guys really wonder what it was all for, you know, when they've had to go down that whole line of circumstances. Okay. Okay. Let's read one more here. Yeah. Okay, we'll read this one. The problem is that you can't just leave. You still are American citizen and have a passport. The passport can be revoked at any time. If you want to renounce your citizenship, it costs $5,000, and that's only after having it been approved by the U.S. Embassy. In reality, it's an invisible Berlin Wall that nobody talks about. All these people who are living in the who are leaving the country are in for a rude awakening until Uncle Sam decides to pull back on your leash and bring you back to the plantation. There is no way the government is going to tolerate so many taxpayers leaving the country. I do fear that very last point, the whole not wanting people to leave the country. But that needs to go back to the government itself. It's give us incentives to stay. Give people incentives to stay. Right? Don't make everything so fucking impossible for us. And then people may stay. Right? Maybe people like Jack Morgan, who have huge followings and are making good money online, maybe they will stay. What a hell of a thought is? Subsidy for the middle class. Subsidy for couples, for families, right? Instead of just forking over and bailing out these multinational corporations that are the same multinational corporations that fund these politicians, right? Well, when's the last time the little guy got bailed out? When's the last time that we had a subsidy for buying housing? A little bit of help. Anything. Exactly. Can't remember it in my lifetime. So, that's the last point I'll bring up there. Otherwise, you guys know what it is. America, it's so depressing analyzing America. You know what I mean? And why Americans are leaving in record numbers. Again, these record numbers, they're a bit skewed. They're only tracking people who are giving up citizenship, but in reality, it's so much more than that. And I guess last advice I'll say is don't keep going to these hot spots, the Mexico cities, the Medellins, right? They're absolutely flooded with people. There's a lot of anti-gringo sentiment there. Go other places where you're going to be more well accepted around the world, and try your best to get out, enjoy some life, and arguably make it your number one top priority, and especially permanent residency. That sets you up for a good retirement one day, or where you don't have to save up $5 million is the new number that people are coming up with now if you want to live a dignified retirement. Okay, so that's it from me. Again, I'm Ryan Aranda, my best life Paraguay. Thanks for watching another video, y'all. Like, subscribe, and share. Again, I do consultations, you guys. The link is always at the top of the description below. Besides that, I'll see y'all in the next one, and take care of yourselves. Peace.